Hello, everyone, and welcome into CrushTheStreet.com. A first-time guest with me on the line, David Phaup, president of the Phaup Company, a silver bullion mint. We're a small company of Texas. It's ran by him and his fiance, the PhaupCompany.com. David's on the line with me. Pretty cool stuff, and I feel somewhat connected to him already. I'm a Texas base, and he's just down the road here in Houston. So we're going to discuss the markets, precious metals, and get into some of the dynamics of what is going on in the sector. David, thanks for coming on the line with me today.
Kenneth, thank you for having me on. I've been watching Crush the Street for a long time.
I appreciate that. David, the 10-year bond now strongly over 3%, the highest since 2011. Many say interest rates are signaling a stronger economy. Interestingly, we saw a sell-off with the stock market and interest rates were going higher. Not exactly a sign of strength in the economy, if you ask me. But, overall, what are your thoughts on interest rates and just the rising interest rates environment as it pertains to precious metals?
I see rising interest rates as a bit of a deterioration in the economy as opposed to what the government is saying. It signals that people are worried about the expansion that's supposed to be happening. I don't believe the jobs numbers personally, but interest rates are key to the economy. It's probably the most important price in the world. A signal that, or the sign that U.S. interest rates are rising is a pretty big deal, especially in the precious metals markets. And I'm one to believe that both precious metals prices and the interest rate can rise together in tandem. They don't necessarily have to be reciprocals.
David, many people talk about the manipulation in the prices of precious metals, and it's such an important thing, if you ask me, because fundamentally they can't do it forever. But you're talking about two key mines specifically that will push the price of silver higher. And this is directly related to supply. And I'm curious, what is your analysis on this? I haven't seen anything like this coming from anywhere else. So I'm very interested in learning about this from you.
Right. As many of your viewers may know, silver supply is pretty tight, especially as we're going forward into the next 5 years. So there's two key mines I watch pretty closely. The first is Cannington, which is actually it's a silver lead mine out of Australia. And the second one is Escobal in Guatemala. And I can talk briefly about the development. So each of those mines produces about 20 million ounces a year. Guatemala, the Escobal mine in Guatemala, has been shut down for about a year now, going into July. It'll be a full year. And they were shut down due to some basically some political stuff that's going on. And they're waiting on a court decision whether or not they can open. So the company feels that this mine in Guatemala will get a decision imminently, according to their last earnings call. But from the questions in that earnings call, there was some not too happy investors kind of pushing the company if they're going to put this thing into care of maintenance if they don't get a decision within the next quarter. So that's a big development. That's 20 million ounces still not in the market. And it seems like that may be the reason the price of silver has actually flatlined this past year. If you notice, it usually has been trading within a $1 range, $17.50 to $16.25-ish. It's been trading pretty steadily within this range. The next decision that's going to be coming is from Cannington. Cannington has not released whether they're going to expand this mine, and it's got declining grades. I don't know the reserves offhand, but they'll have a decision within either this year or next year, I would expect. And if it does stay open, that'll push it into 2023. It probably won't produce the 20 million ounces it's been producing in the past, but it still has some supply. If they choose to shut it down, that's that much more ounces not in the market.
David, so when it comes to your thoughts in general, so this is very related to a fundamental supply-demand situation. So, in general, what are your thoughts on gold and silver? And do you see them as just undervalued in general because of what we were talking about as we started this call, the debt environment and the higher interest rate environment and this this transfer of wealth that we're all expecting to go from the financialized sector of the economy into, sound money vehicles.
I'm pretty bullish on the price of silver, especially. Sorry, shoot. Probably have to edit that out. I didn't realize my phone was on. Yeah, I'm pretty bullish on the price of silver and gold, especially silver, because it's a much more strategic metal. But speaking to gold, I actually hold part of my cash position in gold, probably to the tune of 75%, and then 25% silver, 25% dollars. There's a little other foreign currencies in there, but gold is the main vehicle that I use actually for savings. And the reason is it hedges against fiat money printing, and it can the price of it can rise in line with interest rates. So you don't lose anything with gold. You always have it. So the long term, I think gold is still going to go up. There's just too much debt out there. The governments, they're still issuing bonds. They're still racking up the debt. And there's no sign that even though we have a Republican Congress, the spending's not going to stop.
One of the things that many people are worried about is if gold is losing its sound money vehicle, its purpose to cryptocurrencies. And I'd like to get your thoughts on that, because that's something we actually covered a lot here at Crush the Street, and pretty bullish on Bitcoin. But I concede that Bitcoin doesn't have the history that obviously gold has, and it's still a little more speculative in terms of what's going to happen over the next 10 years, versus gold, which you called a savings vehicle. So I'm curious, do you think that gold is losing some of its role in terms of money? And is it possible for central banks to, instead of buying gold and hoarding gold for, some of them around the world, to start doing that same thing with something like a cryptocurrency?
It's possible central banks may do it, but I think it would raise too many eyebrows with other foreign states. So I don't think that's something they'll do long term, if they are doing it at all. But I will say, from my perspective, nearly every cryptocurrency is fiat. I don't believe in them, with a few exceptions, the ones that are backed by some kind of commodity. Gold money has a cryptocurrency component, so it can actually be transferred and is tied to the price of gold, and it is tied to the physical commodity. But there's some developments in the crypto sphere that I'm watching closely. Ethereum is one, because you can have entire websites. For example, Minds.com is built off of Ethereum now. I'm keeping an eye on it. I'm not buying it. I'm just generating free cash flow with it and immediately exit into the precious metal sector, or use it to build my businesses. $100 here, $100 there. It's good for advertising. Just roll it into the business. But I don't see cryptos as anything beneficial. It's good to transfer money across the planet quickly, but other than that, I don't see it going too much further. It's a big fan.
No, I respect that opinion a lot. And, a lot of people are so one way or another in terms of their belief. They feel like, cryptocurrency, this is going to be the end all be all. And, precious metals, they think it's all done, or vice versa. And I think there's some truth, somewhere in the middle. Obviously, there's a lot of people who can't even wrap their mind around what we saw in 2017. They can't even believe that even happened. And here we are today, with Bitcoin at around 8,500 and, Ethereum doing what it's doing. So I think the future for cryptocurrency, especially blockchain, is certainly going to be there, but it's definitely still a more speculative sector to be dabbling in. And then I think precious metals, especially in this 2018 environment, with gold around $1,300 and silver in the $16 range, there's not a whole lot of risk in this sector, if you ask me. I am, and I'm going to agree with you, very bullish on these metals. So one of our favorite CEOs and company builders is Keith Neumeyer of First Majestic. And, he's involved with some other companies as well. But you said something very interesting to me, and that is you hedge against rising prices with First Majestic, with your company. So talk to us a little bit about this and why you do that, and why you use First Majestic.
Sure. One final quick comment on the cryptos. I'm open to be pleasantly surprised, though, if the technology pans out. But speaking about First Majestic, when I was putting my precious metals company together, it's been over the course for about a year now, and I started thinking about the supply constraints. If that were to happen, how would that play out? And if I can't get product to sell, well, then it's just a company that's eating up my time and money. So in order to protect myself against that, the logical thing is to not buy a refinery or something like that. You want to buy the base metal itself. And the easiest way to do that is with stocks or common stock of company. Bonds are a little different story, but I protect myself with the actual silver mining company. So the logical choice is you want purity specific to what I'm trying to hedge, which is silver. First Majestic is the top of the choice for that. And it also has the other the goodies too. They're one of few companies that were doing some heavy drilling, so it actually has economic activity happening within the company. Just gobbled up another mine, so that's always a good sign. But it seems like a very good growth perspective if the price of silver rises and there are supply constraints. I get the kicker of having that. And last time First Majestic moved in the past, before we got our butts kicked in the bear market, it moved up pretty quick, and that was a pretty profitable move.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, for someone like me, I'm not into mining per se, but I follow good people, good sound management, and that has proven to be a very, very sound company. And I think when silver moves, I mean, you got a leveraged play there with First Majestic, and considering its size, mid-tier, it's definitely a safe place to be. Right. All right. Well, David, please tell us a little bit about your company, how you got started, what do you guys offer, and just tell the audience a little bit more about what you're doing over there.
Sure. As I said, we just started about a year ago, and we finally got our first initial product this past February, and it's actually on the market now. We call it the Constance coin, and we call it Constance because the design will never change. One of the qualities of money is that it's easily recognizable. So we took that to the extreme and made the coin pretty fancy, something a bank would want to use if it needed to. It's got nice geometric designs, and people will be able to see it once it starts getting circulation. It's also our lowest margin product. So if you're a bulk stacker, it's going to be as our sales rise and we get more clients, the margins will come down, and we'll be able to get more into the public. And we're going for complete transparency, so we'll be releasing the mintage in a yearly report, of course. So, but we're open for business now. We're happy to get new clients. You'll engage with me or my fiance directly in purchasing. So, we'd appreciate your business.
Well, you know what, and it's such an interesting type of business, and so simple though. It's something that's been money for thousands of years, and you can't argue with history. So it's an exciting thing, and congratulations on this new venture. Going through the site and seeing it. Yeah, it's a very beautiful coin there that you guys. So how did you guys go about designing it and minting it and going through that process?
We actually contracted a graphic artist who's done coins in the past. He does a lot of custom work, like cool little women on the coins and all that. And we wanted something geometric, so we went back and forth a few times and did some first round drafts, and then put it in the computer and finally cut some dies. We went through Republic Metals Corporation because we had a commitment to source everything sustainably, and we want to be a company that is providing a product, but we're also doing it responsibly. So we don't want to source product from like the Congo or something like that. So we chose Republic Metals to actually do the minting, and they source from companies like First Majestic that are engaged with the local communities. And so that's where we went with that. So we're very happy with the product, and we hope others enjoy the way it looks.
Absolutely. Well, you know what? Excited for you. I'm excited for where we are with precious metals, and I'm very bullish on the sector, especially right now here in 2018. Getting a little pullback right now. Gold around 1,300, silver 16 and change. I can't. I gotta tell you, if you're gonna get involved with the sector, now is the time to heavily accumulate. That's what I'm doing. So,
Right.
David, thanks for coming on Crush the Street with me.
Thank you for having me, Ken.